What's up, everyone? It's Justin from Long Beach Mushrooms. Just got done with a relatively long day at the farm. Inoculated 120 bags, put stuff in the grow room, harvested, just the daily stuff. But you know, I got to thinking, and I really wanted to make a video for y'all that just kind of share some of the knowledge that we've gained over the last couple years of doing what we do. The mushroom world has taught us a lot of lessons in both business and farming and like personal stuff too. But I thought, you know, today we can go over kind of my 5 tips on starting a mushroom farm. So tip number 1 for me, most important, is to know your market, and to figure out what your market ceiling is as cheaply as you possibly can. You know, I've talked to a lot of mushroom farmers over the last couple of years. I'm always trying to learn. And, you know, there are quite a few farms out there that have failed, and they haven't failed because they're not good farmers. They haven't failed because they're not good salespeople or that they're not good business owners. They've really failed because their market isn't ready for them. They're not ready to purchase fresh mushrooms. Fresh gourmet mushrooms at the price point that we need to price them at to be successful. There's a lot of factors that can go into that. Maybe some people are in areas where there's heavy foraging, so they're more inclined to buy foraged mushrooms, and they just know what mushrooms are already, what gourmet mushrooms are, and the market might not be as strong if you're in one of those areas. I've also found people that, you know, the restaurants around them, the dollar price on a plate isn't high enough to where those restaurants can use their product. You know, there's a lot of reasons why the market isn't strong, but you should definitely try to figure out if your market is strong. And you can do that a bunch of ways, even before you even get started farming. So for instance, you can make cold calls. That's what we first started doing. We started calling restaurants and just saying, hey, would you be interested in this? Or if we're going out to lunch and we see a restaurant that kind of aligns with us, we'll be like, hey, if we grew this product, would you be interested in purchasing it? And kind of just weigh that feedback. What does all that mean? And, you know, who's giving us what? And the cool thing about that is you don't have to invest a cent into making calls, into asking people if they're interested. You can do it before you even ever grew your first mushroom. And it's a great way to just start getting a feel for your market, because if you go to 10 restaurants and 10 of them say, heck yeah, we want this, you can then pour a lot of energy, you know, time and money investments into your business. But if you go to all 10 restaurants and none of them can give you the time of day, well, then you have to start figuring out, okay, well, you know, how do I do this? Where's my market? Who would be interested? And then you'll get some in between too, which we did, where they're like, oh yeah, I think so. And the goal for us always was, if we can get somebody to even entertain the idea of putting a down payment down, like giving us 10% or whatever, 5%, 2% of their $5, anything to hold their place in line while we grew this out. If anybody, if those people that are on the fence, if you can get them to entertain that idea that, okay, maybe, yeah, I'll think about putting some money down, or maybe they actually do put some money down. That's also a great way to get started. But really what I'm trying to say is, not every market is ready for gourmet mushrooms. Timing is very important. And the best thing that you can do before you ever start a farm is go out there and test your market. Visit the farmers markets. Talk to the people there. Talk to the vendors there. Don't just talk to the manager, you know. Talk to everybody. Go out to restaurants. Talk to everybody. Talk to the chef. Talk to the sous chefs. Talk to the hosts, the servers. You know, just do everything you can to get that, to understand that market in your area. So that's my first tip, is to know your market, because if the market's not there, it's very hard to succeed. All right, tip number 3, getting into the more technical side of things, the actual mushroom growing tips. For me, I would strongly recommend learn how to grow mushrooms before you do anything else. and at the scale relatively at the scale that you want to grow it at. So, the lab stuff, the agar plates, the culture work, liquid culture, sterilization, like all this stuff is very fun, but it is romanticized. Like that work is really, really hard, and there's so many variables and so many things that can go wrong. I recommend you work backwards. Build out your grow room first. Buy blocks from somebody, automate that, build out that grow room, automate it, come up with a system that requires minimal labor to get maximum yields, and then buy blocks from somebody and test out your system. Continue to buy blocks until you fine tune that system to the point where you know the ins and outs of it. You have the ability to train somebody on it because you're so knowledgeable about it. And when things go wrong, you know exactly what it is. Learn the mushrooms that you grow. Don't try not to focus on 10 different varieties. Try to pinpoint the 2 to 3, 4 varieties, one even that you want to really grow. And you want to get that knowledge down because every microclimate's so different. Like I can tell you how I grow mushrooms and what my conditions are, and they can be completely different from what you need to succeed where you're at. So, dial in your grow. Pick the couple mushrooms that you want to grow. Go buy blocks from somebody that's already producing them. We produce them. There's a lot of people out there that produce blocks. Buy blocks. Don't take that risk on yet, and then go into your grow room and learn how to grow. Figure out how to get maximum yields, figure out how to automate, figure out how to troubleshoot. And then once you get that down, then you can take steps backwards if you want and start learning how to do some of that culture work. But I have plenty of clients that buy blocks from me and they have no intent on doing any of the lab work because with that lab work comes a lot of risk. We throw bags all the time when we have contamination. I probably can find you a contaminated bag in our incubation room right now. No problem. Potentially, these might be bad. It happens all the time. The good thing about buying blocks too is you can quickly turn, your product, your investment into money. You buy certain varieties. If you buy like a King Blue strain or a Blue Oyster strain in about, 10 to 14 days, you'll have a harvest and you can sell those quickly and then reinvest that money back into your business. If you do lab work and culture work, you're looking at weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, assuming you did everything right, before you can even turn the initial investment back into revenue. That's kind of the business side, but learn how to grow, work your way backwards. If you're looking to be a farm that is profitable, that's my biggest advice. So tip number 3 is to learn how to grow first before you do anything else. All right, tip number 5. Tip number 5 is to make sure you have a strong purpose. Figure out what your purpose is, your why. Why do you want to grow mushrooms? Why do you want to get into this industry? Why do you want to sell mushrooms to your community? Like what is the point? What is your reason? And the reason why the purpose is so important is because if you don't have it, you're going to fold. Because there's so many things that can go wrong. It is a industry that is built around customer service. It's not just about the product. I know people say it all the time, the mushrooms will sell themselves. Well, yeah, they'll sell themselves to a few people. But if you want those few people to come back, you're going to have to make sure that they have the best possible experience they can have selling gourmet mushrooms. And in order to do that, in order for people to connect to you, you have to be able to live your purpose. So our purpose here there's a few of them, we believe in growing food where it's eaten. We believe in strengthening our community's desire to have ownership over their food. We believe that food is the ultimate connector of people. So we kind of live this purpose out in all of the things that we do. And it attracts certain customers to us, ones that kind of believe that purpose fits them. Of course, it doesn't fit everybody, and we're not here to pull a monopoly of the market share. We just want to be able to work with people who are like-minded and they believe in what we do and, they want to be a part of it. And that's our customer base, So Purpose is extremely important. There's gonna be a lot of bad times. There's gonna be good times, but when you first start out, there's gonna be more bad times than good times. And you have to kind of be able to wade through that. And the only way to do it is to have a really strong North Star. Why are you doing this? And you're gonna have to ask yourself that over and over again, because there's gonna be days where your whole run goes bad and you have no mushrooms. And then you have to call up the chef that's depending on you, and you have to be like, hey, I don't have any mushrooms. Sorry, this is what happened. And you're gonna have to really, really swallow your pride, because that person's dependent on you and you messed up. And in order to, have that slice of humble pie, you need to have a strong purpose to get over that. Because trust me, when you doing it to one chef is bad, but when your whole run goes bad and you have to do it to everybody on your client list, that's really tough. So, the only way to do that is to have a strong purpose. So that's tip number 5. Tip number 5, have a strong purpose. All right, tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to hire. Hire as quickly as you possibly can. Hire even if you don't think you can afford it. Or hiring is the wrong word. Build a team. Build a team around you, even if you think you can't afford it. There's a lot of things to do in this mushroom world. And as a business owner, because you're not just going to be a farmer, you're gonna own a business. There's a lot of things to take care of outside of just farming. I mean, even if you want to break it down to the most simple, all you want to do is go sell at farmers markets. Well, there's a lot to do there still. You got to do all the farm work. You also have to, get certified to sell. You have to do some accounting, at minimum at best. You're going to do bank runs. You're going to do supply runs. You're gonna need to take inventory. Like, there's a lot to do. The more people you have around you, the stronger your team is, the more it allows you to do. So, one of the things that we did early on is we hired almost right away. I was blessed enough to have a job that financed this business for the most part, and I can afford to do that. I would even argue, if you can't afford to hire, there's a lot of people out there that are going to be interested in your mission. If you word it the right way, people are going to be excited. And you need to be able to find those people that are excited and actualize them and get them into your business to do volunteer work, to do internships, go out to colleges, go out to high schools, post work experience, post that you can give them work experience in this very specific field that a lot of people are interested in. Do the things that you can do to build your team up, because if you don't have a team, you're gonna get bogged down doing the things that don't necessarily promote your business's growth. And that's really what you have to do as a business owner, is figure out how to grow. Like I said, one of the first things we did were we hired a couple people, and really one person, and it was my wife's sister. And we paid her minimal, and we gave her flexible hours, and just try to build an environment that was that she could buy into. And from there we hired more and more, and honestly I think in the last 2 years we're at a team of about 7 now, and that's really what helped us leapfrog or to get a really firm grasp of the market share in our area. So we hired intentionally, and then we try to find the gifts and the superpowers of our employees, and we try to promote their growth in those areas, because the more they grow, the more value they're gonna add to our business. So, hire or build a team around you, whether you have money to do it or you have to figure out a way to do it for free. Just do it. Because one of the things that I'm learning now still, but being a business owner is pretty much synonymous with being a leader of a team. And if you are going to lead a team, boy, I tell you, there's a lot of skills to learn, and I'm still learning them because I'm not the best at it either. But the more practice you get in it, the better you'll get, and the stronger your team will become. So, tip number 2, build a team. All right, now, tip number 4 is along those lines of growing. Once you decided that you're gonna build out a grow room, and maybe at this point you are buying blocks and you're actually growing mushrooms out for sale, before you move into lab work, there's one more kind of like middle step before you start going backwards, and that's if you only have one grow room, get multiple grow rooms. Have modular grow rooms. Have multiple grow rooms. Build out your grow system so that it's not all in one area or all in one room. And this is why, and I'm gonna tell you because I learned the hard way. There's something that me and my buddies call the honeymoon phase of growing mushrooms. And what that is that initial 3 to 6 months of growing mushrooms where you're like, everything is perfect. This is so freaking easy. I don't know why people talk about why this is hard. Growing mushrooms, no problem. And then what ends up happening, because they only have one grow room, is the places that they don't see, above your lights, under your shelving, little creases here and there, you don't clean them. And then that starts increasing the bio load in your grow room. And then eventually that bio load grows more and more and more and snowballs onto itself. And then all of a sudden you're gonna roll into your grow tent one day and you're like, oh crap, how come everything's aborting? How come everything is dying? And that's because you just built an incubator for contaminants that you didn't even know about. And it was probably, might take 3 to 6 months to manifest, but it's coming and it's gonna get you. And I say that because I did learn the hard way. I had one grow tent in my garage when I first started this business, and you can't ever completely clean it, because if you want consistent production, you're gonna have to consistently put blocks in. That means that room was always, like, I'm always cycling things in and out, and it was never deep cleaned. Like, I never pulled everything out, cleaned it all down, let it sit for a couple days, and then put everything back so that there's a fresh new environment for my mushrooms to grow in. I never did that because I was like, I can't stop production. If I stop production, then there's gonna be a week where I don't have mushrooms to sell. So that's out of the question. So I just continued rolling with it and thought, if I just cleaned good enough, if I just mopped enough, I'm just gonna be really diligent. Well, here's the thing is that no matter how diligent you are, it's still gonna happen at some point. So the good thing about having modular grow rooms or multiple grow rooms is that you can have a growing cycle where, we're on a 3-week cycle. So blocks get put in, they're in there for 3 weeks. I harvest whatever I can harvest off of them, usually first flush, sometimes second. And then I take everything out, pressure wash, vinegar wash, bleach solution, let it sit for a couple days, let it rest, completely dry out, and then I'll fill it with blocks again. And by doing that, I limit a lot of the things that can go wrong in a grow room by being able to deep clean everything. Now I have 6 grow rooms, so I can do that without stopping production because everything is on a cycle. But if I didn't have 6 grow rooms, there's no way I can do it. So, if you are into this and you want to start producing consistent fruits, having a consistent harvest so that you can really plan out your sales team, and your sales strategy and go about targeting restaurants and all that, you have to be consistent. So the way to do it is to have multiple grow rooms. Otherwise you're going to be juggling a lot of things and it's going to be very difficult. So that's tip number 4, have multiple grow rooms. All right, those are my 5 tips for y'all if you want to get started on a mushroom farm and sell commercially. Those are my 5 tips. I hope it helps some of you. My past life, I was an educator, and a big belief of mine is just sharing information and helping others, helping others do what they want to do, become the people that they want to ultimately be. So that's what I'm trying to do with this video, is just quick 5 tips. If you are interested at all in any, consultation work, I would love to, I talk to everybody, so I would love to hop on a call with anybody who's interested in trying to maximize what they do at their farms. And then, just have an open conversation. Is there any value I can bring to your team and to your business? And if there is, maybe we can set up something where, I help you do that through consultation or through, I don't know, just whatever. Like I've said before, my goal is for there to be a mushroom farm in every single city. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to service every single city myself, so there's got to be other people out there who do this. So if you're somebody that wants to do this or already doing it and you want to bounce some ideas off and you think that, I'm somebody that can bring value to your team, I would love to set something up with you. So just, you know, shoot us an email or even comment on this video if you want to. But that's it. You know, once again, I'm Justin from Long Beach Mushrooms. Those are my 5 tips for starting a commercial mushroom farm. Peace.